Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try to run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on the midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song. In the old neighborhood, as the clock strikes one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I'm your host, Afridamus. I want to welcome all of you to another Sunday edition of the Afridamus Report. And today we are going to talk about President Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, when he visited President Trump in the Oval Office. And I'm going to point out a whole bunch of stuff that many people did not see, or they are refusing to see it. So I'm going to lay it all out like it is. Pan-African TV, welcome. Nightingale, welcome. Good to see you all, and all the other ones in the cyberspace there. Please make sure you hit the like. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what you saw at the White House. You see, the South African story, which is apartheid, it is a Dutch word. The people they call the Boers. They came to South Africa, some say, 1652, 1620. But the point is, they've been there ever since, right? So the history of that country is pretty messy. So the story is, and no one can sit here and try to pretend like the story that's presented is not plausible. Because if you look at even the trajectory and the locations of how things happen, it makes sense. So the white Europeans, the Dutch, the Boers, despite what they want to tell you, here's what happened. Those people left Europe around Netherlands, Belgium, like a long time ago. At the same time that the white pilgrims left Europe to come to America. So this group of white people, they were running away from religious persecution. So they came to South Africa, but at the time, they had the Dutch India Corporation. They were trading in India. So they set a post on the Cape. They used to call it Cape of Good Hope, South Africa there, because it's closer for them to get their supplies to go into India. But the Portuguese were the first ones who came there at the, prior to the Dutch. They didn't write anything about meeting any natives either. But long story short, when these people escaped religious prosecution, came to South Africa, so eventually the British, if you guys remember, the British were the big dogs at the time. These are just white farmers, settlers, people who just want to farm. So the British came along to South Africa. Now the British want to conquer the land, you know, once they discovered gold. So they wanted to colonize the whole place. So these Boers started moving inland. They set up their own state, which they call the Orange State, something like that, you know. But long story short, on their trek inland, that's their first time coming in contact with, you know, Black Africans. You know, sometimes they fight wars. Some areas they make deals with the chiefs, you know, however it is. But long story short, we came to apartheid era, which is separation. But in this separation, prior to even apartheid, they've had laws, you know, which the British they had there because they found out the place is valuable. So they've passed laws. They called it the native laws, where the blacks can't own lands. They can't buy it. So for the longest, South Africa have been a corporation. So I hate to tell the blacks in South Africa, those of you watching me, or the blacks, you know, out here that want black power, black ownership. I'm giving you this history to let you know the South Africans, the blacks there we see today, they have been conquered a long time ago. They've been conquered completely. Even the Boers, see, the Boers are the white Africans. They are the lower level white. They also have been conquered. Both groups have been conquered. So that's what you saw in the White House that day. They are running a game on the black South Africans. And that game, the way things are going, Trump is going to force their hand for that to be exposed to the masses of South Africa. But if they are blind to it, they just want to be vindictive and say, they took our land in the past, now we are going to return the favor. The land is no longer theirs. The land belongs to the white people. And I think deep down they know it. Deep down they know it. But it came down all the way. Apartheid. Mandela went to prison. You know the story. He was in Robben Island for 27 years. But the South Africans, eventually, Mandela, I think he was free in 1990. So the road to democracy was laid out since 1990. They had black majority since that time. So they've been in charge for 30 years. So they dismantled white minority rule to black majority rule. And the South Africans did not achieve this just by themselves, mind you. Because even Trump because you see, it's funny how, you know, to take down apartheid, first it was America that was propping them. They were helping them. See, when the whites were in charge, South Africa had the #1 military in Africa. They produced their own weapons. They were strong. Their police force was #1. I mean, obviously it makes sense. Look at it. They were able to manage, you know, the blacks there. Because, I mean, think about it. They took the land, maintained the land, and they were able to police the blacks. So that means they had powerful forces. But eventually, you know, the blacks kept fighting with support from outside, and they broke the dam. So a lot of people was sympathetic towards South African blacks because the South African blacks were the victims. They were the victims of colonization. They were the victims of, their lands being taken. But you see, the South Africans, when Mandela came out of prison, what they negotiated completely got them in a bind. Because you see, a lot of the masses, what they fought for was to get the land back. This is what they fought for. We want our lands back, the lands of our forefathers. This is what they fought for. That's what the fight is all about. But they made a deal. Go read the South African Constitution. The South African Constitution recognizes the white people as part of South Africa, the Indians, anybody who is within South Africa, born and raised in South Africa. It's not being a South African is not about skin color. It's called the Rainbow Nation. You see? So therefore, they accepted it. There was joy. You guys saw it, South Africa. They even won several of the African Cup of Nations. They won rugby. They were with the white. It's a coalition, Rainbow Nation. But the people, the ANC, who came in charge, mind you, they promised to return the land to the people, like next door, Zimbabwe, when Mugabe fought the white colonialists and won. So he also, the fight was about the land. He said, we're going to return the land. So at one point, Mugabe, he made some deals, but Mugabe did not make the same deal as Mandela. Their deals are not the same. So Mugabe, because they won in a battlefield. So the winner in the battlefield gets to decide what the deal is going to be. So, but either way, Mugabe also did reconciliation. They made peace, but the land was still in the hands of the white minority. So the people in Zimbabwe, they are like, look, Mugabe, you promised, you're going to give our land back. This is what we went to war for. So we want the land. So they laid the prospects. At this time, Mugabe was the darling of the white people. He was knighted by the Queen of England. They loved Robert Mugabe. I mean, the white people, they bestowed Mugabe with, 1,000 PhDs. This man is super educated. So they were like, all right. But Mugabe now have tasted white wealth. He wants to be part of the world. And see, they are riding the tiger, because you see, a man who have been oppressed, you came back and become the winner, and you have power over your oppressor, and you showed humility, and you didn't punish them as people expected. Or what, like you became the bigger man. Mugabe was trying to do that, but the masses, the people are like, no, Mugabe, we know you guys are, at the top. You guys are dining with the queens. We're seeing pictures, and we are over here landless in our native land. So they were like, look, if we take the land from the white people, the white farmers, we are going to starve. They are like, we don't give a damn. We hate the white. So look, we don't care. Even if we're going to starve, take the land from the white man. Zimbabwe used to be called the breadbasket of Africa. And Mugabe went on and said he expropriated the land. He took it from the white farmers and they gave it to the blacks. you know the rest of the story. You saw what happened in Zimbabwe. That's what happened, right? In South Africa, they are behind. So they have several elites at the top. First, they had Mandela, who came up with the Rainbow Nation. Now they are one and the same with the whites. In South Africa, after Mandela, I think they had Thabo Mbeki. Thabo Mbeki. He was also moderate. Then they had, I think, Jacob Zuma. Now, see, Jacob Zuma is a Marxist, just like Malema. You know, a lot of these, you know, ANC members, these people that are saying they are fighting, they're anti-colonialists, they are staunch Marxists. You know, all you got to do is listen to the things they say. So they've had succession of blacks running South Africa. But Zuma was radical. Zuma, you know, wanted the land expropriation. But then Zuma, it turns out he was corrupt, which is a shocker. So from Zuma all the way to, let's say, Ramaphosa, but they had the BEE in place. They call it Black Economic Empowerment, just like they have affirmative action here in America, or DEI, just like they have it here. So South Africa is the only place I have read about, I've searched in history, where the majority is in power and then make laws that, you know, at the same time put them in the victimhood position so that they can, you know, victimize the minority. It's the only place where laws have been made against the minority. And someone could be like, oh, Afridamus, what about the lands? But South Africa agreed. They agreed and put it in their constitution that the white people are part of the nation. And which is true. I mean, they've been there for centuries. How long do you have to live in a place to finally be a part of the place, regardless of skin color? Come on, let's be real. Let's not even play these little dumb games. We know these white people have been there for centuries. This is their homeland now. Even, you know, Netherlands, Holland, some people are like, why can't they go over there? You think they can just show up? You think a black person can just show up in even South Africa and say, oh, I'm black. I don't know my lineage, so I'm here. Go and find out. See how that would work out. But then they regretted the deal because they've tasted wealth. But this BEE, this Black Economic Empowerment, is not really benefiting the regular everyday South Africans as much, because if you look at the wealth disparity and you have like few elites at the top who are getting wealthier. And when you hear the expropriation of land, the lands that they've even confiscated so far hasn't gone to the masses. They distribute it amongst each other at the top. So the top is eating. So clearly, now South Africa have been exposed as nothing but a racist country. They have racist laws on the books. They want to confiscate the lands of their fellow citizens based entirely in skin color. So this is what you saw at the White House, because you see, South Africa is way smaller economy compared to the US. Even during the apartheid era, the reason why the apartheid government even relented and fell, it's not because of blacks in South Africa or in Africa. You know, they were not even trading with the black countries, so they weren't even affected. But because America changed its policy towards them and put sanctions on them, on their top brasses. So they have to eventually just give up, because once America put you in the bullseye, it's done. So around 1990, in the 80s, the South Africans were the victims. The blacks were seen as the victims. So this, continued on. They had people like the Malemas, even Zuma. They would sing these songs. They would sing songs talking about all this black power stuff. People were going along with it, but the tide have changed. I don't know if they understand. Now people are no longer seeing them as the victim. They are the victimizer. In go and out here, what happened in the Oval Office, now you go watch how people look at the South Africans. Even the president, how he presented himself, you guys are saying is weak, but no, it's not, because he got caught. Let me show you this clip. Let me show you this clip here. Prior to the South African president coming to the Oval Office, he's made some statements. I get it. You're going to talk to your masses about politics. And I understand as well. I'm not here to convince the people to say, don't think the way you're thinking. They can think that way all they want. But I'm going to point out the things that were said in that meeting. And I can tell you clearly the type of message Trump was sending to South Africa. And if they cross that line, I would also tell you what's about to happen to South Africa. It's not going to be like in the past where it's not a physical thing. They've done it to Venezuela. They've done it to Zimbabwe next door. They've done it to nations way more powerful. They've done it to Iran. So, and once they implement that on South Africa, they are done. They are done. Let me show you here what Ramaphosa said prior to coming to see President Trump. Here we go. Give me a second. So Ramaphosa goes to his supporters before coming to America. Here's what he told them.
Is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him.
Are you guys hearing this? When he met Trump, he would tell him about how worse Trump is. So the media didn't show you all of this. They didn't tell you what Ramaphosa was saying. Ramaphosa looked like a victim in front of you in the Oval Office. But here's Ramaphosa prior to coming. He made promises.
I will say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse, because your forebears came to America. They found the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. Rene, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone. He must leave us alone, Maori. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I...
All right. You guys seeing, you see and you hearing this, right? So I'm playing this to give you context context to what Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, how he has been presented versus the truth. So he knew exactly the conversation he was having with Trump, even though he played confused, right? Let me show you this other clip here. This would be very, very important in the conversation here. Hold on. Give me a second here. Let me show you this. So let me show you this, right? So Ramaphosa, he's the president of South Africa. You just heard him. He said Trump should mind his own business. They're gonna handle their own country's business because their country belongs to, you know, every color, white, black, you know it, the whole spectrum. He did not say South Africa belongs to just Zulu, Xhosa, or Venda, like just, he didn't say African tribes. So whites are part of South Africa. So that this is what he is saying. Now, if you are the leader of the country, your citizens, you know, are running away to become refugees. Let's see when you find out how leaders would respond to this. Here we go. Let's hear Ramaphosa, you know, respond to this.
Coward. And that's a real cowardly act.
President Ramaphosa is blasting Afrikaners who are leaving for the U.S., calling it a cowardly act. This comes after about 60 Afrikaners sought refuge in America. The White House is worried. They've even used the word genocide to describe the situation facing white South Africans.
What's happening in South Africa fits the textbook definition of why the refugee program was created. This is persecution based on a protected characteristic, in this case, race. So this is race-based persecution. The refugee program is not intended as a solution for global poverty. And historically, it has been used that way. Wherever there's global poverty or wherever there's dysfunctional governments, then the U.S. refugee program comes in, swoops people up, relocates them to America.
Ramaphosa says these folks should stay put. He wants them to help fix the inequalities left over from apartheid. He says South Africans need to be tough and face their problems.
I had a conversation with President Trump on the phone, and he said, what's happening down there? And I said, President, what you've been told by those people who are opposed to transformation back home in South Africa is not true.
So you've seen and heard that, right? So that means, from what I'm showing you, so Ramaphosa, isn't Ramaphosa like, so that means he already had a conversation with Trump, so he knew what this was about. He knew it. Nightingale said, apparently Trump chartered a plane for Mandela to come to America in the 90s. Yes, in fact, you know how like the black power people run around talking about, oh, we helped South Africa, we brought Mandela over here. That trip they're talking about, yeah, it was Trump who chartered the plane to bring Mandela, sent him the plane to bring him to America. It wasn't none of those, Afro black power people. Where are they going to get that money from? So you're seeing that. So Ramaphosa already knew what this conversation was about. He called the refugees, he called them cowards. So now let's see, his conversation with Trump. So let me show you what his conversation was like with Trump, because he said when he comes to America, when he sees Trump, he's going to let Trump know Trump, you are even worse because you know, Trump, your ancestors went to America, came here, and they wiped out the natives, most of them. Yours is even worse. And when I get there, I'm going to tell Trump to his face. So we have the clips. Ramaphosa came, he met Trump. So here we go. Let me give you what happened.
Investments in both countries. We've got about 22 companies from South Africa that have invested in the US. That's creating a number of jobs. And similarly, you've got almost 600 companies that have invested in South Africa, and some of them have been in South Africa for more than 100 years.
That's true.
So our links are really long-lasting, and we would like to recalibrate those relations between our two countries and discuss a whole range of issues, geopolitical, the work that you're doing to bring peace around the world, in Ukraine and in the Middle East. So we value that, and we are also a great contributor to peace processes that are going on around the world. And of course, we want to discuss how we can support each other. You are a much bigger economy than we are. We're just a tiny economy, but we rely on each other on a number of issues. We've got critical minerals that you want to fuel the growth of your own economy and reindustrialize. So we have that on offer, including rare earth minerals. So all that combination.
So Ramaphosa came for a business trip. I'm showing you this to say. So you see, Ramaphosa was telling his supporters, right? He was telling his supporters how he's going to tell Trump off. But, you know, he's a businessman. So a lot of these things they're going for is they tell the masses in South Africa that they are going to expropriate the land. And the people are thinking, okay, yeah, they're going to take the land from the Boers and then they're going to give it to us. That's not what's going to happen. So clearly, it's about economics. South Africa's economy is way smaller compared to the US. This is why he's offering, we got minerals and all this, you know, but Trump is thinking, look, I get it. We would want to, if you want this to continue, you better get rid of certain things. You know, that Boer stuff, we need to clear that. That BEE, which is affirmative action. If you are ever looking for a country that's an affirmative action country, DEI, that's South Africa. Because in South Africa, the whites, their company, they have to hire a black person. Just like, you know, when they were doing the work stuff, you guys remember just a few years back, man, that seemed like a long time ago. They were trying to do the South African model when they would just, you know, put some of their people, some of the blacks in the position, and it's always some black woman. They will put her as CEO. Yeah. So South Africa is like that. Who wants to invest in a country like that? It's not going to be white people for sure. And if white people don't invest, their economy crumbles. Here we go.
Of opportunity and the products that we buy from you, as well as what we sell to you, I believe makes up a really good and powerful relationship, which we need to strengthen, which we need to engender. And that is really what has brought us here. And we are really privileged to have, you know, great South Africans in the mix. As you said, you'd like to see them as well. And I brought you a really fantastic golf book. Weighs 14 kilograms.
Do you guys think he would have taken a golf book for Tinubu in Nigeria? No. Trump is the real boss of all these presidents. Guys, please hit the like to show that you are enjoying the show so you can invite the rest of the crew to come join us here in this conversation here on this wonderful Sunday. But, you know, Ramaphosa, let me just play this a little bit so when he finishes, you know, dancing, then we can get straight to the, you know, movie where the lights were dimmed. Just hang on tight. Look at this. That's right. And you guys know Ramaphosa, he's a billionaire. His inner circles, oh yeah, they're living large. So he's not like your regular South African. He's eating high up on the hog. So, the language that Trump is speaking, he understands it, him and his friends at the top. But the emotional, Malema supporter, they think they are onto something when they are fighting for their own destruction.
No, and it showcases the golf courses in our country. Johan Rupert wrote preface, so did any else. And I want to showcase our golf courses. You might remember when I spoke to you, when we spoke about golf, you said I should start practicing. And I've started practicing, President, so I'm ready. But let me end just the introductory remarks by thanking you. You may not recall that 5 years ago I spoke to you during the COVID period, right? And it was at a time when the whole world was going through a really cathartic moment. Right? And we asked for assistance, and you were able to assist us with respirators.
Yeah. So, see, Ramaphosa is here for business. He wants to do business, but you cannot do business, with white blood on people's hands in South Africa. So he's just reminding Trump of how, United States, our tax dollars, we hooked South Africans up in the past. So you can't call Trump a racist. He's hooked you guys up even during that, C-19 stuff. Here we go.
Respirators, and you kept your word, and you delivered respirators to us. We didn't have as many in our country, and it really helped to help us deal with COVID. So I'm here also to say thank you and to thank the people of America for having helped us during a really difficult time. Being the small economy that we are, we needed help from around the world, and you were there to provide that. So thank you very much.
I remember the call.
Yeah,
we said 150.
Look, guys, you don't understand. Trump operates on a whole different level. See, let me show you what Ramaphosa just finished doing. Let me show you. Let me show you what Ramaphosa just did over here.
I can do some shuffling too. Look out, man, what you gonna do? Look out, boys, it's coming through. Yeah, man, yeah, man. Boy, he got educated feet. Boy, I practice all.
Guys, I bet you, what's his name? Malema. I bet you Malema was watching this. He was somewhere doing this.
Hey!
Malema was somewhere, throwing a drink at his TV screen. Malema was calling him all kinds of names. I bet you he was somewhere, just like, oh, I cannot believe. Say, I can't believe Sepril did this, is doing this. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So let's see a little bit of tap dancing, just a little bit.
Respirators who became the respirator king. We started making them. Nobody had them. We had very few of them.
That's right.
But they were very helpful. But we said 150, and I appreciated the letter you wrote me.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for that. It really touched my heart after I spoke to you and you delivered. So,
great honor.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so let's keep it. Let's go over here. Let's get over here. All right. So let's see as the conversation continues. Here we go.
So he's going to eat.
Well, I want to see what happens with that one. It's there's a lot of hatred.
Yeah.
There's a lot of death. It's a bloodbath.
It is. It is.
I get the
Unfortunately.
satellite pictures of that field, of that killing field.
Mm.
You never saw anything like it in your life. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing that goes on, but I think we've made big progress. Yeah, please, go ahead. No, not you. Right here. He's from South Africa. Go ahead, please.
What are you expecting on the ICJ case? Are you expecting South Africa to drop that? Is that what you're trying to do?
On which case?
The ICJ
The International
case is
Criminal Justice.
I don't expect anything, to be honest. I really don't. I don't know. It's they've got a case. There's a lot of anger there, tremendous anger. I don't expect anything. We'll see what happens.
See, Trump is right. He's saying, hey, I don't expect anything, because you see, South Africa is the one that, took that case to the International Criminal Courts against Israel. Because you see, the ANC party, they are being paid by Iran. They are doing Iran's bidding. But you see now Iran, their money is about to be controlled. You see China, they got their own issues, Russia. So South Africa now have to play ball. They have to play ball if they want to continue, or else end up like Venezuela. And now the Freedomers can't get a premium account. No, I did. I just I had the premium, and then I changed my bank card, and I never did renew it again. But I will get it for sure. Here we go.
We'll have a ruling, and who knows what the ruling is going to mean. Yeah.
On that subject of Gaza, Mr. President, are you going to be speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Israel's renewed defensive there? There's been a lot of concern from European countries. The Pope has expressed concern. Are you going to be asking Prime Minister Netanyahu to tone down the offensive in Gaza to let more aid in?
Was that a question or a statement? This guy, they never changes.
Mr. President, what will it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the president. It's for him. No, seriously.
All right. Now we're about to have the conversation, right? So the question is about this genocide thing. Put yourself in the shoes of a white person, right? You've seen, I'll save that commentary, till we get to this one clip. I'll save that for now.
I know the answer. It will be,
Our president will respond to you. Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us around the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. And we have documentaries, we have news stories. And that, is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and I would.
So Ramaphosa did not see this coming. He didn't see this coming. So let's watch, and then watch his body language from this point on.
It has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do, with or without you. People are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are.
So, you know what you're seeing over here? So, like even sometimes South Africans that call, they'll be like, no, man, Malema is not, Malema is just a small political party. But Malema is in the parliament. He's a lawmaker. So imagine you are a white person, white South African, and here is a public official, talking like this, promoting, saying people like you should be like get shot, get taken out. I mean, and you've seen this happen to white people. The officials, they're not going to do anything about it. They're like, it's just a crime. We get it, that's crime. But specifically, this man is calling for people. This is someone we should look up to make laws that would protect every citizen. But no, he's calling for this. But you see, blacks run around. This is including these so-called pro-African blacks, Africa for Africans. You're running around, you're speaking this type of things. You are calling for outright wars, that you're calling for things you cannot stand on. And when they respond, you start crying. Because Malema, it's just like this. It's the ant and the boot. The ant is shouting, but the boot can just crush the ant. That's who Malema is. He can't do anything, but he can get South Africa crushed because he's speaking uncivilized language and he's an elected official. So, yeah, maybe within South Africa, if this doesn't spread to other people hearing this, it's not a big deal. You guys might just dismiss it. But what happened here in the Oval Office, I am telling you, this is what have changed people's views on South Africa, blacks. So here we go.
That's what he's scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolution. Like, shoot, kill, Gaza, kill the poor, the farmer.
Guys, are you? Why is the president jumping? Why is he fidgeting as if he's never heard this song? Guys, why is Ramaphosa? Why is he jumping as if he's never heard this song before? And then he would jump and look at Trump to see what Trump will say. No, you are sitting in front of Trump, smirking. Here is a man calling. He's not even sugarcoating it. He's calling for white people to be KILL. It's not even being sugarcoated. So, but a few minutes ago, you were just telling me you want to do business with us, and I'm white. We are white people, but you guys want to kill white people. What's that all about? So let's see how comfortable he is. See, Trump is just leaning, taking it in like, are you kidding me? Seriously? Here we go. You hear this? You hear this? So how can this not be genocide? Did you hear the sound he just made? Does that sound like just like a 9mm? That's like a machine gun lining people up. That's how a machine. He is even doing the sound. He's even telling you the type of gun you're supposed to use. Not like a 25 or like a 9mm. He is telling you, use a gun that goes like That means you got rounds and rounds. Yeah. Look at Ramaphosa over here. So let's hear more. Is Ramaphosa, is he tearing up or he's sweating? What's going on here? Is he sweating? Okay.
The man of DEI is a white man.
This is
Oh man. So you see that, right?
Go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Pashama and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched. Come on. But we're starting with this whiteness.
Guys, look, look at Ramaphosa. So now the people running around talking about, they don't understand how business is done. So they want Ramaphosa to be sitting right there and be able to defend this. How can he defend this? How would he be able to defend this? He didn't expect it. I mean, like, because Trump is like sitting there looking at him like, you just told you want to do business with us. Like, you're giving us reason why we shouldn't do business with you. Why would I help support a group of people that are singing about killing white people? You see? That's what Trump is thinking. So here we go.
You are cutting the throat of one man. Shoot, kill, Yamasa, kill the brewer, the farmer, kill the brewer, the farmer. Pa, pa, pa. Shoot to kill, Yamasa, kill the brewer, the farmer, kill the brewer, the farmer. Pa.
Guys, look at Ramaphosa. Look at how he is. This is like you have like your ghetto cousin doing this. Here we go.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, was not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't ever see the future. Do you understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter? It makes freak out. It sounds like a genocide on that.
Guys, what the link is in the chat. Hit the link, come join us in the conversation. What do you guys think Ramaphosa is thinking here, guys? What is he thinking? Here we go.
Who will expropriate land without compensation, whether they like it or not. If they object, they can seek refugee in America.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites.
What? So why is Ramaphosa turning and looking at Trump like, please, Trump, can you? He's almost begging him, please, Trump, can you not show anymore? He's thinking like, I wish I can glue Malema's mouth. This is like he's completely lost control of Malema. The moment he heard Malema's voice, I bet Ramaphosa is like, oh man, I'm cooked. I am completely cooked. What? He's about to play Purupa? Oh my goodness. And he is openly calling for whites to be deleted. Openly. The Capriano said what? Afridamo, some of us black that you got sent back to the homeland. Yeah, I can't believe that's just wishes. I was suffering from fatigue, so if you know what I mean. So I was in the Caucasus Mountains, you know, just getting rid of my fatigue.
Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers, and those cars aren't driving; they're stopped there.
Why is Ramaphosa, sitting, he's uncomfortable, leaning his head as if he's not seeing it? I mean, these crosses, so what they did, they went and started saying semantics as if, Trump said those are, grave sites. Okay, fine. He misspoke, but those crosses represent humans. Like if you go to you bury somebody, they're going to put the cross there. That cross represents a person in it. So Ramaphosa, is President Ramaphosa trying to tell us this is his first time seeing this? Because I have seen this documentary a while. This is in a documentary. I've seen it. I've seen this before. So I would think, Ramaphosa would have seen it as well. So I don't know what's going on with them, but here we go.
To pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses. Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen. But, okay.
I mean, it's in South Africa.
We need to find out.
I'm coming back to North America.
Oh, man. So even though there's eventually going to be media interference, but I mean, Chukwu, you said it best. Clearly, Trump, he's not a big fan of white genocide, so, and he's making it known. And Ramaphosa can tell Trump is not a big fan of it either. But here we go.
Okay.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced they would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You gotta get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other.
So, did you guys see what just happened here? So this wasn't like the Zelensky thing where, the back and forth, nothing was shown. So Trump came, he's prepared. And I mean, he did it all in 4K. So Ramaphosa doesn't have a comeback to defend this. Clearly, you can see, right? So the media tries to run interference for him. This is how it was in Nazi Germany. This is why they're calling it a genocide, because the media is in cahoots. They are running interference. Because why wouldn't they let them just leave it to Ramaphosa, let him, handle this. But they try to distract the conversation. This is what tells you something doesn't smell good. What is the media trying to distract us from? Here we go.
Things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing. They also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back. You ought to go back to your studio at NBC, because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace. No more questions from you. Go ahead. Go ahead, talk about that. His name is Peter something. He's a terrible reporter. Quiet. Let's go.
Thank you so much. President Trump, and it's also from EFCA in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation
I
that we've
don't
just
know.
seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death, 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 horrible death.
So, do you guys see what is being shown here? Hold on, American man, you said that link is bad. Let me send another one. So this is not just like in your little Black Power circle, Dr. Umar talking section where like Malema might say this and they cheered it. No, the whole world watched this. You know, the other bigger economies, the white countries. You think white people are gonna see this and be like, yeah, Malema totally do purpa on all of us. Yeah. I mean, you saw the look on Trump's face. Well, the link is in the chat again. Let me know if it's working.
Death. I don't know. To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couple say that they were attacked violently. And,
President Trump, why don't you go and see for yourself if it is?
well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried. And he asks about a jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter. This is one after another. This family was wiped out. I'm just looking.
Can we get a response from President Ramaphosa? Your reaction to those videos, Mr. President?
Well, I think the videos are so. No. When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land.
So, you see, Ramaphosa dropped his head because Malema is not just, even though you see him on the internet talking, he's not just like Dr. Umar. You see what I'm saying? It's not like he's like Dr. Umar, where he can say just whatever and there's no repercussions. No, he is an elected official, lawmaker. That's who he is in that country. So when he says things, it's supposed to have weight. So Ramaphosa cannot sit here and say to Trump, oh no, like try to fix that. He might say, oh yeah, his party is small, but he is in fact someone in parliament. Oh, let me check this out. You said the link is not working. I don't know what that's all about. Let me try to post it again. I don't know how to fix that. Let's see.
That's what, and I have other friends in South Africa. I have people that left. One in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land. They take your land and they kill you. It's okay, and they say it's okay to do. Now we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous look. This is a story recent. These are all people that recently got killed. Yeah. And I don't know how it can get any worse. And the man that you saw, the men that you saw, the people that you saw, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march. They had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy.
He's about to nigga-splain it. He's about to, like when you hear a black person of anywhere, any position, when they start, what about they say they're counting it? One, yeah, nigga-splain. Here we go. It's not government policy. Yeah, we know that. It's not supposed to. They've been calling it free speech. Can a white man say kill the Zulu? Like, can a white man say this in South Africa? I mean, you guys know that person will be arrested and prosecuted. So it's not free speech. Let's just be real.
We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can
and then
take
when
land.
they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, nothing happens. There is criminality in our country. People
look at it. So Ramaphosa, there's videos of he himself, talking about expropriating land, taking land without compensation. He champions it himself. In fact, he's got a law that he's pushing, to go into effect, which he's going to, they're going to sign it into law. When they asked him about it, it's about the expropriation. He's like, it's just there. We're not going to use it. If you're not going to use it, why even sign it? These people think white people are crazy. You can only do this to other blacks, and they're not going to read the paper and understand what is in between the lines. White people are not crazy. They hear what you say. They know what you're doing. They saw the document. Why would you bring something into law if you don't intend on using it? This makes no sense. I wish Trump would have played his video of he himself saying he's going to expropriate the lands. So he's double speaking here. So this should worry even the South Africans back home. So he's sitting in the White House saying, no, they're not going, you can't take the land. But then if they're going to take the land, then that would give America the power to help the people that the land was taken from. Because you flat out lied to his face. So here we go.
People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now
The farmers are black. The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off. They died violently.
Yeah. But the link is not working. You guys are saying that the link is not working? Huh. Okay, let me play this while I try to solve that issue.
We had to talk about it, and I didn't.
Hold on, let me communicate with their online people and see what the issue is.
We get involved here, but I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake, like NBC, which is fake news, totally one of the worst, ABC, NBC, CBS, horrible. But if they weren't fake news like this jerk that we have here, if we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it, but they won't. This won't even be a subject. They'll have him talking about why did a country give a free, think of this, why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay, the United States, not to me, to the United States Air Force, so they could help us out because we need an Air Force One until that's Air Force One, it's being built, 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly, we were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about it.
Well,
and this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States,
those are all recent. Those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you.
So pretty much Trump is letting him know, like, hey, you need to fix this if you want us to continue to do any sort of business. That's what he's letting him know, flat out.
You are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about. Let me just add quickly, you know, the criminality that we're experiencing in our country needs quite a lot of technological capability. And in one of our areas in South Africa, we're using US technology, which is able to, in many ways, identify where shootings are happening and all that. And I'd like to talk about that because there is support that we can get from you as the United States to help us deal with all these acts of criminality. And that is what I believe partnership is all about. And we are here as a...
Right. What do you guys think Trump is thinking as he speaks, guys? What do you think he's thinking? Look, I don't even know why the old link keeps on showing. That's crazy. I mean, because I'm hitting it directly right here from the new one. So, sorry guys. I guess we'll just have to review the video and then I'll open up another one for conversation.
The partner so that we can help each other whenever there are challenges. So I'd like us to discuss it, and of course outside of the media, so that we sit down and have a really good discussion that will lead to good outcomes.
Are there any other punitive measures that could be in place should you not be satisfied that South Africa is fixing some of the very bad things in the comments that you tweeted are happening?
Well, there are a lot of bad things happening in many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, and because of we're going to have the whole world watching in another short period of time because you have the G20, and that's a big deal. And it's
so they want Ramaphosa wants Trump to come to the G20 summit in South Africa. So, and he's also making it known like, hey, the whole world is watching this. So for the first time, because they used to try to, like the Biden administration and others, they made this seem like a joke. You know, Britain, you guys see it, the UK completely went woke. You know, they are pretending this is not happening. So now Trump is shining light on this. He's shining light on it. He's like, yeah, we're going to take care of this. The Capiano said, Tom Homan deported the link to a server. I don't know what happened to the link here. Maybe I'll try it again.
It seems like, I mean, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership.
Tired of typing tons of notes?
So people that said that was saying, oh, Ramaphosa did bad. I mean, like, clearly, there's no way for him to be able to defend this. Let's be real. I mean, they're like, Ramaphosa, you know, embarrassed us, all the black people. No, this is the way he can respond to it. That's the only way. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. So welcome back, Afridamus. Thank you. Let me see, KBM report. Try creating a link from invitation feature. Oh, okay. I'll do that. Let's see more.
That constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we are going to be doing so.
You're taking people's land away
we have not.
from them. And those people, in many cases, are being executed. Yeah. They're being executed. And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that? They're taking people's land away, and in many cases, those people are being executed. And in many cases, it's not the government that's doing it. It's people that kill them and then take their land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country. They're also going to Australia in a smaller number. Mm-hmm. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die in South Africa, and it's a bad thing. Yeah.
What can South Africa do? What concessions would you like to see them make to improve relations with the United States? Then I have one more for President Ramaphosa afterwards.
Well, we just spoke about, I got them a very, very complex machine, 150 of them. I was asked by the president if it can help, and I did that. And, I have great feeling for all countries. I deal with all countries. But I have a great feeling for South Africa because I have friends. I have a few friends here today. I have many friends from South Africa, but many of those friends are not, they can't go back. I have Elon is from South Africa. I don't want to get Elon involved. That's all I have to do, get him into another thing. But Elon happens to be from South Africa. This is what Elon wanted. He actually came here on a different subject, sending rockets to Mars. Okay,
yes. Oh, sorry. I was trying to figure out to put out the link, but somehow hold on. Let me drop it in again and see. Give me a minute. Okay, but you guys are seeing the conversation here. So people that are saying, "Oh, Ramaphosa should have pushed back and did X, Y, and Z." How is he going to push back? Everyone is watching. What is he going to? He can't do all that goofy talk that Malema does, talking about, shoot the white man, shoot the Boer. How can you even justify this? Yes, we get it. At one point, you were the victim, but now you've been in charge for 30 years. 30 years. How much more longer do you need to push this victimhood that you keep talking about? So more and more people are seeing it. And the point here is, it's not in South Africa's favor. It's not in South Africa's favor, because even the way the president responded about the crime issue. First of all, South Africa depends heavily also on tourism. What type of message are you sending to the world? You are saying that there's so much crime to a point, even the president, they lost complete control over the situation. Okay, let me play this while I figure out the link for you guys here. Give me a minute.
This is sort of the opposite of apartheid. What's happening now is never reported. Nobody knows about it. All we know is we're being inundated with people, with white farmers from South Africa. And it's a big problem. Marco Rubio was telling me he's never seen anything like it. The numbers of people that want to leave South Africa because they feel they're going to be dead very soon. Yes, please.
I was going to say,
Brian, go.
If I could just ask you a question. 72% of farmers in your country are white. If they flee, do you feel that maybe the economy could collapse? You may not have a gap to fill in those people that need to replace those farmers.
I'd like my Minister of Agriculture
who is white, who comes from an opposition party to mine, who's joined my government at my invitation to address this very issue, including the question that you've just raised. John?
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah.
And Mr. President, thank you for welcoming us to the White House. I would say we have a rural safety problem in South Africa. I don't think anyone wants to candy coat that. And it requires a lot of effort to get on top of it. It's going to require more policing resources. It's going to require different strategy to be able to deal with it. But certainly the majority of South Africa's commercial and smallholder.
Oh, man. Okay, so let's see. You guys are still getting the old link. I'll have to fix that for next one. The American said that mix of white woman and lion steak Afridamus had last Christmas. Guys, I don't know what's going on, with my link. Our movement said the white man is an idiot. Well, let's hear all sides, anyways, because sometimes some of these other people, man, I don't know what they are on, but here we go.
Farmers really do want to stay in South Africa and make it work. And I've just come from the largest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere with organized agriculture and farmers, and the majority of them want to stay. But they too there have a memorial to those who've died as a result of farm attacks. And as the Minister of Agriculture, it is something that I'm particularly exercised with my colleagues at police and my colleagues in the justice cluster to start making farm attacks.
He's the Minister of Agriculture of South Africa. So look at, this is the South African ambassador. Why does he look mad? So here we go.
Tax and stock theft, a priority crime. And it affects all farmers in South Africa, particularly stock theft. It has a disproportionate effect on smallholder black farmers. I also want to just say this, that the two individuals that are in that video that you've seen are both leaders of opposition minority parties in South Africa. Nkonto Wesizwe under Mr. Zuma and the economic freedom fighters under Mr. Malema. Now, the reason that my party, the Democratic Alliance, which has been an opposition party for over 30 years, chose to join hands with Mr. Ramaphosa's party was precisely to keep those people out of power.
So this guy is saying he formed an alliance with ANC Ramaphosa to keep. So he is sitting here trying to tell us, yeah, he's over here, he's fighting against Malema and what's his name? Zuma. Okay, first of all, so Zuma, he was the former president of South Africa. So this guy is sitting here trying to say, oh, those are small parties. We get it, but think about it. Zuma came, in the last election, right? Like it was last minute. Nobody even knew if he was going to run. And he formed his own party, like in a short period of time. And guess what? He got 15% of the electorate. 15%. So that means if Zuma had formed this party sooner, he could have gotten way more than the 15%. So you can't sit there and underestimate the guy. He was once president and he formed this party. I'm talking like within less than a year. And he ran in the general election and he was able to get 15%. So Malema, so if you join, he's 15%, and I think Malema is running at about 10%. And there's another party. If those people decide to form a coalition, they would give these people a hard time, because the ANC is their support is dropping. That's why they couldn't win the majority in the past election. So this guy, I think he's talking politics, but here we go.
Cannot have those people sitting in the union buildings making decisions. And that is why after 30 years of us exchanging barbs across the floor in Parliament and trying to get one over on each other, we've decided to join hands precisely to keep that lot out of government. Because the day they get in to the doors of the union buildings in South Africa or control of our Parliament, that's what you're going to see. And that is why this government, working together, needs the support of our allies around the world so that we can strengthen our hand, grow our economy, and shut the door forever on that.
You know, it's devastating, and hopefully a lot of people are going to start spending a lot of money. And I've talked to other nations. We want them to chip.
Proud South Africans. I still have my South African passport. You know, we travel with this passport.
So Ramaphosa brought, white golfers, to the Oval Office to back him up. So let's hear what they say, then we're going to close out.
And I got my visa here. So, but we want to see things get better in our home country. That's the bottom line. It's been 35 years since the transition. President Ramaphosa was right in the middle of the transition time, in 1990, and before that. So it's been 35 years of ANC government.
Not sure if you saw the news.
Oh, man.
A lot of anger, through the transition. There was also a lot of stuff happening in the apartheid days. We grew up in the apartheid era. But I don't think two wrongs makes a right. President Mandela, when he came out of prison for all that time, didn't come out with hatred, and really unified our nation through sport. We won the Rugby World Cup in '95.
4 times.
We won the African nation game for a long time.
It's across the board. And we need technological help. We need Starlink at every little police station. We need drones. I actually got drones donated for the peace parks to stop elephant and rhino poaching. And his predecessor stopped the importation because he said the United States would spy on us. I mean, US basics, the ridicule. So if we can...
The government, ANC government, I guess that would be Zuma prior. He's still in that, liberation mindset mode. He thinks that the United States is going to spy on them. They got bigger satellite. They already know what's going on there. But here we go.
If you can help us. Remember, sir, you and I lived in New York in the 70s. We never thought New York could be what it became. 2 commissioners, a tough mayor. We need your help to stop this awful killing. But it's across the board. Ernie is right now building a house in George. I'm building 3 cottages for my grandchildren on a farm outside Grafrenet. I often go to bed without locking the door. And we have a serious problem with illegal aliens who stream across the border. And if you...
Yeah, see? So, the white man came, he's letting President Trump know, yeah, they got issues up the yin-yang. And it's not only the killings happening. He said they got too much, they got illegal aliens running across the board. So I'm going to do a show on Malema speaking about that, because Malema brought an argument in court, so, that argument would exempt Africans being called aliens in South Africa. But the South African man here is calling the other Africans aliens. So South Africa have to go full-blown white or go all the way Zimbabwe, the other way around. So the ball is in their court. But I don't think they would go back. They would go the Zimbabwe route. They've tested too much white comfort, and they've insulted too many African countries, Nigerians, Somalians, and the others. Now, they're gonna, even if they remove the BEE, they're not gonna complain because they still want to maintain that privilege. Because if they allow South Africa to collapse, like Venezuela or Zimbabwe, they would find out why Zimbabweans, Nigerians, and others, come to their country, because they would have to do it too. I mean, right now in South Africa, their economy, 40% unemployment rate, 40%. So if they put some sanctions on them, shut down some of the companies, that's going to skyrocket. That's what happened in Venezuela. Hugo Chavez and all that crazy talk, they got plenty of oil. They were booming, but they pulled the plug on them. The whole thing collapsed. The economy collapsed. That's why you walk around here, you see Venezuelans now, they're selling, rice and beans and burritos. They didn't used to do that. That was a Mexican game. And I bet you the Venezuelan, they used to call the Mexicans poor, laugh at them. Why don't you sit in your country, amigo? Look at us. We are swimming in oil money. But now who is selling burrito and rice? Exactly. Here we go.
Really look at our statistics. A lot of these murders. Firstly, it's unemployment and illegal aliens. And then I met Vice President Watts many years ago, the Charlie Rose show. My wife loved the book. And she reminded me this morning that you emphasized the devastation that occurs when big companies leave towns and cities, and there's a culture of dependency that develops. I remember you discussing it. Now that's our problem. If we don't get our economy to grow, the culture of dependency and the lawlessness will increase. I've been against apartheid all my life, and I'm their #1 target. Please just Google my name and Malema. You'll see it, sir.
Yeah. Our main.
This is the quickest way to clear out stuck poop.
Oh no. So guys, you seen that and you heard that. Now I'm just distracted by my link not working, because I definitely want to hold this conversation with you guys on this Sunday here. But I'm gonna fix it and then take time, another 2-3 hours. I would come back because today I want us to have conversation. So stay put. I'm gonna start another stream, but leave your comments. What do you guys think? Do you guys think South Africa will, make sure they fix this situation, or they're gonna pull the plug on themselves and do the Zimbabwe route? Let me know in the comment sections what you think about it. I was hoping to have people call in so we can have the conversation, but I'm gonna restart it. I think that would be the best thing. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned.
Lend thy ears to the freedomers. Pay attention to the freedomers. The true Soninke warrior. Naturalist his intelligence. As a true professor. Solution to brainwash diseases. Sit back, relax, and hear the wisdom. Afridamus will heal your minds. Sit back, reflect, you'll find no objection. Afridamus will clear your doubts here. Always log on to the Afridamus. Lend thy ears to the Afridamus. Is the truth